Hello, and welcome to our lesson on multiplying with fractions. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you 3 ways of finding a product of 2 or more fractions. So we'll begin with question A. And the first thing we're going to look at is our visual method. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. So now to work out 3/4 times 2/3, the first thing I'm going to do is split up our length into quarters because of this quarter here. And then I'm going to shade in 3 of them, which is this numerator of 3. So we have 3/4 here. Next, I'm going to split the width up into thirds, which is given by this 3. And now I'm going to shade in 2 of these. So to work out 3/4 times 2/3, we're going to count the area when they overlap. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But this is 6/12 because there are 12 cells in total. And we can simplify this fraction, 6/12, by dividing the numerator and denominator by 6. So we have 1/2. So now we know that 3/4 times 2/3 is 1/2. So the next thing we're going to do is look at a written method, because it is not always easy to draw the diagram, as you'll see later. So we have 3/4 multiplied by 2/3. Now can you see we have the 3 times the 2 to make 6, and then the 4 times the 3 to make 12. And again, we can simplify this to make 1/2. So now I want to show you a third way of doing this. And it is similar to what we did with our written method. So we have 3/4 times 2/3. Now, rather than simplifying the answer like we did here and here, we're going to simplify the question. And to simplify the question, we're going to look at a common factor of a numerator in one fraction and the denominator in the other fraction. So you can see that 3 and 3 both divide by 3. So I'm going to divide each of these by 3. And then the numerator in one fraction and the denominator in another. So we can do this again. So now we'll divide the 4 by 2 and the 2 by 2. So now I'm going to rewrite this with the divisions. We have the 3 divided by 3, which is 1. The 4 divided by 2, which is 2. This 2 divided by 2, which is 1. And then this 3 divided by 3, which is also 1. So we have 1/2 multiplied by 1, which is 1/2. So we still get the same solution every time. Okay, let's move on to another question. So in question B, we're going to work out 1/3 multiplied by 3/5. And again, we're going to use all 3 methods. So I'll start by drawing the rectangle. So I'll begin by splitting the length up into 3 parts. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and the width up into 5 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll begin by shading in 1/3, which is 1 row here, and then 3 of the fifths. So you can see that they overlap with 3 different cells. So this is 3, and there are 15 cells altogether. You've got 5 here, 3, so the area of that is 15. And now we can simplify this fraction. We'll divide both by 3, and we get 1/5. So we know the answer is 1/5. The written way of doing this, again, 1/3 multiplied by 3/5. We multiply the numerators, so 1 times 3 to make 3, over, you multiply the denominators, 3 times 5, so 3 over 15. And again, you can simplify that to make 1/5. So the final way is to simplify the question rather than the answer. So 1/3 times 3/5. You can see that this numerator and this denominator share a common factor of 3. So now we have 1 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 5, so 1/5. Okay, do you want to try and work out questions C and D using any one of these 3 methods? You can pause the video and resume it when you're ready. So for question C, the first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle. We'll split it up into fifths to begin with, and then quarters along the width. So now you can see we have 2/5, which I'll shade in here, and 3/4. So 1, 2, and 3. So you can see the overlap 6 times out of 20 in total. And we can simplify this by dividing numerator and denominator by 2, so we get 3/10. Okay, for our written methods, so again, 2/5 times 3/4. We'll multiply our numerators, so 2 times 3 to make 6, and our denominators, 5 times 4 to make 20. And again, we'll simplify this fraction to make 3/10. So our third way of doing this, we can cross simplify with this 2 and this 4. We'll divide both by 2. So we have 1/5 multiplied by 3/2, which is 3/10. Okay, for question D, so we can find the product of our numerators. So we have 5 multiplied by 7, and the product of the denominators, 6 multiplied by 10. So we have 35/60. We can simplify this fraction. We'll divide both by 5. So now we have 7/12. So rather than simplifying the answer at this stage, I think it's easier to simplify the question at the very beginning. So we have 5/6 times 7/10. And you can see we have a common factor of 5 here. So we'll divide both of these by 5. We can rewrite the question. So 1/6 multiplied by 7/2. So again, we have 7/12. So it depends on whether you like to simplify the answer or whether you like to simplify the question. Okay, so for question E, it is much easier to simplify the question rather than it is to simplify the answer. Do you want to try and do this question yourself? You can pause the video and resume it when you're ready. Okay, so welcome back if you had a go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split this product up into 2 parts. We'll work out this part and then we'll multiply it by 12/15. So to begin with, I can identify a common factor in the 4 and the 8. I'll divide both by 4. And a common factor in the 10 and the 5, we'll divide both by 5. So now we have the 4 divided by 4, which is 1, the 10 divided by 5, which is 2, multiplied by 5 divided by 5 over 8 divided by 4. And this makes 1/4. So now I can put this 1/4 in place of this. So 1/4 multiplied by 12/15. I can simplify this fraction here, divide both by 3. So we have 1/4 multiplied by 4/5. You can see there's a common denominator here. So we'll divide both by 4. So we have 1/1 multiplied by 1/5, which is 1/5. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found that useful. Thanks again, and take care.